All right, so this is our first podcast for Indie Hunt. We are here with the winner of the December showcase. So I'm here with Vince of ShutinStudios, who won with the game Catastasis. So how are we doing today, Vince?
I'm doing really, really well. I mean, I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to have you. This is exciting, our first kickoff episode. So first, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, even outside of game development, like what you like to do, what you do for work, all that kind of stuff?
Sure. I mean, hobby wise, I think I'm kind of basic when it comes to the, you know, indie game dev space. I play games, tabletop RPGs as well. I also like the garden, stuff like that. I really have kind of a wide hobby range. I kind of do a little bit of everything, the way I look at it. For work, my work's kind of boring. I do financial stuff, higher education, which is fun time right now, to say the least.
Yeah, awesome. And then I guess what are some of your favorite games of all time?
Of all time. Oh, that's a good question. I truly play a lot of games. I have a huge range of what I'm interested in too. I think the first thing that pops to mind when you ask that though is Inscription. Um, I just loved that game. I couldn't even really put my finger on the why or why not of it, but it just I think it took me by surprise. I think that's why I liked it so much. I kind of expected it to be just this deck builder kind of horror themed sort of thing, and it was, but it was my first time experiencing something like that where it kind of got into the like metagame of we're affecting your computer files, all that sort of stuff, and this has like a real world significance. So I just thought it was really interesting, a really good experience.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just kind of getting into deck builders. Like I just got into Slay the Spire because a friend was really into it, and now I'm playing around with Balatro. But it sounds like one that maybe I should try.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're into that sort of experimental trip sort of thing, I think you might like it.
Cool. So then how did you actually get into game development?
Well, I don't think there was like a hard in. I consider myself a creative person when it comes to my hobbies, aside from the things I had mentioned. I also, I do pyrography, which is wood burning, which is the more common term for it. Um, I make music. I do all sorts of stuff, and I always have. Um, when I was younger in my teens, I always had an interest in game development. Um, didn't have a lot of focus, so I kind of learned the basics of programming, and uh, I think I made a couple of really bad platformer prototypes, and then just fell off the face of the earth and went and did something else with my time. So now that I've got more resources, more focus, I think I just thought to myself, hey, why not give it a shot? I'm kind of feeling bored and itchy in the winter up here. Upstate New York is brutal. You stay inside for basically 6 months. So I think I just thought I'd give it a try, and it's been something I really enjoy so far.
That's awesome. So when you first got into it, what like tools and languages and all that kind of stuff were you using? And then I'm also curious what you're using now for your latest games.
Yeah, so the answer's the same for both because I am so new to this. For context, I've been doing this for all of a few months. So I use the GameMaker engine. So they use a language called GML GameMaker language. It's kind of like a derivative of C, but it's a little bit more plain English. And that's really all I know. I'm not really a programming guy. I'm really not from or consider myself in the tech space. So I learned what I needed to learn for what I wanted to accomplish, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good time with like all the AI tools coming out and they're just getting better and better.
Sure.
Like if you don't have the programming background, like I do have a programming background, but it almost seems like a lot of the time I've spent learning these skills. I don't know if it was like well spent now with all these changes.
I
Um,
I think just to give you maybe a little boost of confidence that it was definitely worth your time. I think there's a lot of value in humans understanding contextually what this stuff does. Um, I'm not big into AI or anything like that, but it's not that I'm against it either. I know there's a big um,
Yeah, very
debate, I guess, in the indie
controversial.
dev community. It's very like a frictiony kind of topic, but um, I look at it as a tool. But I think it's my experience with it is that it's not great at context. It's not great at,
Yeah.
looking through that uh, human lens. So um, I think I don't think it devalues anything you've spent your time learning at all. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely helps having a background with debugging, but you can get quite far with almost like no experience, and it just blows
Hmm.
my mind.
Okay.
But yeah. Um, so you've only been going for a few months. That's really impressive. I played the game and it was really cool. I really like just like I think you nailed like the vibe part of it,
Sure.
which I think is like the hardest part, or one of the hardest parts of like building a game. So yeah, what inspired this game, Catastasis?
Well, given its size and simplicity, there wasn't a large well of inspiration I feel like I had to tap into. Truthfully, I was wanting to make something else when I first started that project. Um, the only thing that really remained the same was that you played as a cat and the perspective is top down. That's about the only thing that
Okay.
really stuck. I really wanted to make something more closer to like a horror puzzle action game where I mean I could get into it, but it's long story short, I got very not far into the prototype of that game before I said I should probably slow down, break this down into something simple, more manageable, into systems that I do understand right now. So I ended up doing a little hidden object game, and the only spin on that was that you physically walk around and pick them up, and have to carry them back to the basket containment field, as I think I called it. um, so that was pretty much it. As far as the concept of the game, I'm a big animal lover. I've got three cats, two dogs, and I just thought it was a silly but fun little idea that maybe cats live in this alternate sort of reality where everything they do is so much more significant than we perceive it to be. So I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, it's a fun little game. And then I saw, so you mentioned, I think that you use AI for some of the art, and I think
Mhm.
the art, like you did a really great job with the art, and just like making it all like, yeah, just like adding to the vibe, like with the pixel art coziness vibe, kind of reminded me of like Stardew Valley or something like that. So what is your process when you're creating the art with AI?
Well, I'm going to answer that in two phases. So when I was creating this game, I went with AI Gen art because I'm don't consider myself an artist. I thought I'd be able to finish the project if I used it. So um, something that I looked at as an obstacle when doing that was making it cohesive. I think when you see a lot of this generated art, it's out of place and it immediately kind of triggers something in people's brain to say, this is out of place. This is AI. I don't like this. This doesn't fit the mood. So something I did to kind of combat that is just use real world references, photos, feed it that information, turn this into this perspective, this style of art. And if it came back not what I was looking for, you try again, just iterate, 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 or you give up and move on to something else because some stuff it just can't handle. I kind of moved away from using AI for art. I'm now using Sprite and doing everything by hand, which has been actually really satisfying. So, um, But yeah, as far as answering your question goes, yeah, I think the key to making it cohesive is the what really made it click was using references. I actually took photos of some stuff in my own house and just fed it that, like this bookcase, this wall art, etc.
Yeah. And then what like models are you using to generate the art?
For that, I just used Copilot. Wasn't anything fancy.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then what part of the development process did you enjoy the most?
It's a good question. Um, I think the thing that really drew me in was just the total game design, which is really just like the top level, putting everything together to make it cohesive, and feel like everything was intentional and contextual. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, just in the just through the lens of it's not entirely easy to take even a small game and put little pieces of all these systems and art and audio together in a way that actually feels like a thing, like one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then what part of the development process was harder than expected or the most pain in the butt?
Hmm. There's I really debugging is insane. I don't think that's unexpected that you get into these little hitches of okay, why did this break this? This doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're new to it. But that was that I hit a couple of really specific kind of walls. One one of them being trying to get the player to physically carry the toys and shrink it down and make it not look weird. That was actually a really long and grueling process to get that to actually work where it just didn't look crazy. So that was really difficult. And then also something that I didn't expect, having not really been in the game development area before, was how difficult it was for me to handle UI, just right across the board, everything about it. Maybe it's just the engine I'm using, but I felt like I was really fighting that. I don't have that issue now with my more recent projects, so maybe that was just a symptom of being new.
That makes sense. And then overall for your just like getting into this new hobby, do you have any
Hmm.
goals that you're like looking to hit or what is your goal for making games? Mostly just to have fun or like maybe you want to publish something on Steam and get, wish lists and see how many sales you can get, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I land somewhere in the middle. I'm a much of a. I feel like I like things I do to be fun that aren't necessarily work. So I'm being careful not to try to push this, but my mind does naturally go to how far could I push this? Could I make something that's publishable on Steam where people would like it, wish list it, buy it, that sort of thing. So I do have a larger project I've been working on. It's nowhere near to finished or demo or even a playable prototype right now, but my goal with that is to maybe put it on Steam if I actually get it to a playable state where I feel good about it. But in the interim, I'm taking breaks and doing smaller kind of bite-sized projects. I just did a game jam, and I think my entry was playable for all of a minute, 2 minutes. It was really, really tiny, but I feel like that helps me break up the kind of mental block you'll get sometimes working on a larger project.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. And when you put too many expectations behind like a hobby, it turns it into like more of a chore almost. So I think that's really smart. I've
Yeah.
fallen into that trap a lot. But I also was
Yeah.
going to ask what you're working on next. So it sounds like you have like a bigger game that you're kind of working on the side in between these little games to break it up. So what's that game
Yeah.
about?
Well, it's not about much right now. I had a couple of larger ideas for actual. what I would consider an actual game when I'm looking at playtime. I think that that goes into a lot of it. If you have something that's 15 minutes, I think the average player doesn't consider that to be what they expect to be a game. So I was playing around with a couple of ideas. Right now, the thing I'm focusing on uh, is a cozy shop simulator. It's not exactly innovative, but I kind of like with Catastasis, I like having sounding boards, and my wife is really into these type of games. So probably something she's annoyed of by now, but I really it's something I can really bounce out. What do you think of this? What if I added, this feature? Would this be annoying or would this be fun? And what's this missing? That sort of thing. So yeah, it's like this occulty crystal shop thing. There's a lot of moving parts right now, so I guess I don't want to lay out on paper what I'm doing because it might get totally changed. But that's the main project right now. And then I was also working on something that was a top-down kind of action adventure um, that dealt with emotional themes, sort of. It connected to the game jam project I just did, called Losing Wills, just this tiny little thing that I treated as a prequel to that. And then I kind of gauged the response I got off of the game jam from that little snip to, is this worth to keep working on for another 700 hours? And I decided to kind of pivot and try something a little bit more palatable to the average player, a little bit less experimental.
Yeah, nice. And then just overall, how did you like participating in the first Indie Hunt showcase? Any feedback that you have for us?
Yeah, I thought it was really awesome. I didn't expect to have the opportunity to do something like this, as small as what a lot of people would look at it as. But for me, it was really exciting to have this little platform, um, little extra bounce of visibility, this little extra feedback forum with other indie devs to kind of bounce off of. So I felt like I had a great experience with it. I felt like it was smooth. I like the interface. Everything looks good, feels clean, feels fast. So I don't really have uh, feedback in the sense of like critique. I think it's great.
Cool. Yeah, that's the goal. I've done a few game jams myself, and then like it's such a rush and it's really fun. And then once the like voting ends, it's kind of like you just move on to the next game. So
Mhm.
the goal is that this provides like one more place where you can at least submit your game for like another little challenge, because why not?
Yeah, yeah, I
So
agree. Yeah,
yeah.
I saw your more recent itch project. It was really good. The one where you run around, collect the parts of your own body. That was
Oh
really,
yeah.
yeah, it was
Thank you.
really
Yeah.
interesting. Was there something
I
behind that that really made you want to do that?
That was for a game jam. And the theme was it was like the theme was you are everywhere. So I took it
Oh,
in like a literal sense where it's like your body
yeah,
parts are everywhere. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, no, that's actually the last game I made other than just kind of like messing around to where I like
Sure.
publish it on itch and stuff. But yeah, I've wanted to get back into it for a while because I don't know, it's just a blast like doing something creative like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so hopefully I'll build one soon and then also submit it to Indie Hunt.
Yeah.
If
Well, what's
that's
stopping you,
allowed.
if you don't mind me asking? What's the
I
block?
Yeah, no, I just work on a lot of projects, like just software product projects in general. I'm
Sure.
a software engineer that's working on AI agents for my day job. So I work on a lot of different like AI agent projects.
Mhm.
Um, right now I'm just kind of well, I created this site just because I got really into indie games over the last few months to take a break from projects and just play and
Yeah.
get all that stuff out of my mind. Then I built this, and because I think it would be really cool if there was a really easy way to discover like the top games made in game jams on like one website. And
Sure.
I mean, we had 15 games submitted, or like 25 games submitted last in the December showcase. But I think
Mhm.
if like in a year we can grow this every month, then we could get to where there's like maybe 1,000 or 2,000, and then
Sure.
I think the top 10 games from those, it would be really cool to just see like what ends up winning as it grows. But
Yeah.
but yeah. Um Also I'm curious, do you know what you're gonna buy with the Steam gift card?
Not off the top of my head. I so much am a person who's like I look through my friends' wish list and see if there's anything that they've
Yeah,
been waiting for a long time. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just get something for someone else. So there was nothing that was like I was waiting in my back pocket. Like as soon as I get this, this is where it's going. But yeah, I think my brother and my wife might see some some games coming their way. You know,
cool.
something like that. Nothing specific though.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, that's all the questions that I planned. Is there anything else you'd like to say or share?
Um. Not in particular, I don't have a lot to push or promote. I mean, I am curious about you though. I'm like, because we haven't had much of a chance to really go back and forth and talk a whole lot. I mean, you seem like a really busy person. I work 50 hours a week, so there's not a lot of like, I don't do it with anybody really, but since we're here, since we have the time, I'd love to know more about you mentioned that you got really into indie games recently. So is there something that like really stood out to you? Something that's like stuck in your brain as far as stuff you've played?
I'd say the ones that I have played are pretty, pretty like the popular indie games. Like I played Celeste a few years ago.
Yeah.
This last year I just spent a ton of time playing Slay the Spire. I haven't
Mhm.
like come close to beating it. But it's really fun. My friend got me Balatro for Christmas, so I've been playing that. Um, I got this game called Slots and Daggers. I don't know
Okay.
if you played that or heard of it.
No, I know I haven't heard of that.
Have you heard of the Kingdom games, like Kingdom Two Crowns or Classic?
Yeah, I've seen them. I haven't played them though.
Yeah, so I really like those games. They're kind of like your game where it's just really simple. These ones are just side scrollers where you can go back and forth, and then pick up and drop coins. And the goal is like, how many waves can you survive before you defeat these portals where like the waves come from?
Yeah.
So it's really simple, but it's like just has a great vibe to it. It's pixel art and has awesome music. So I really like those games. I started playing Hollow Knight and I was kind of into it before the break. I think I just kept dying and then haven't played it since, but intend to pick that one back up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, those are the games that I've been playing a lot. And then with friends, I'll play like Halo Infinite multiplayer and Rocket
Oh,
League.
okay.
Those
Yeah.
are like my guilty pleasures.
What would you
Um,
rate your skill level in a game like that?
uh, Pretty average, I think. In
Okay.
both of them, I'm like plat, so nothing
Oh, all
crazy.
right.
I try to compete with people, but some of these people are just incredible. I don't have
Yeah.
enough time, I guess, or skill.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm there with you. I would consider plat above average if that makes you feel better about your skill level. I
well, I
think, but that's
appreciate
probably because
that.
I'm trash at those games, but it's
Yeah.
I think it sounds good. I usually end up like in a type of competitive game. I'm usually like gold and then I lose the will to try to push it past that anyway, but it's also a skill issue, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's tough. You feel so good when you first start and you get ranked like bronze or silver and then just get a bunch of
Yeah.
wins. But then you inevitably hit that peak where you just have a bunch of losses and it
Yeah.
really, your self-esteem isn't too good. But outside of that, yeah, just working on like an AI agent where you can kind of like chat with your all the data that's in Apple Health. So like
Mhm.
your calorie data and then your weight data and sleep and all that stuff. But yeah, just all sorts of random stuff. I definitely have shiny object syndrome. So,
Yeah.
but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, I think so. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that as long as you're not accidentally deconstructing your life because of it. But
absolutely.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, congratulations again on being our first winner, winning the December showcase. And yeah, I hope to see some of your future games on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast. Appreciate you hosting it. And yeah, if you ever want to chat, just reach out to me. You have my contact info now, so I promise I won't
Sounds
harass you. I'll bug you a little bit, but I won't harass you.
sounds good.